January the 24th every year is celebrated as World Education Day. The theme for this year is Recover and Revitalize Education for the COVID-19 Generation. An arduous task for an education system already riddled with problems, as you see in our feature story. Students still taking classes under a tree in 2021 in Nigeria's capital. Recently, the Teachers' Bill was passed, extending their years of service from 30 to 35 years and retirement age from 60 to 65 years. While teachers are excited about this, how exactly will this improve the teaching profession or the quality of teachers at a time when virtual classrooms are the future? And we still have teachers who are not computer literate. My guest, Professor Josiah Ajiboye, is the registrar of the Teachers Registration Council, and I'm curious as to how the new bill plans to bring the best minds into the teaching profession. On our Abuja wrap, the service chiefs were changed this week after months of clamor from almost everyone in Nigeria. And the country records its lowest Transparency International Corruption Perception Index rating in 7 years. We have the response from the presidency. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. Education still has some of the lowest budgetary allocations in Nigeria. Out of 13.08 trillion naira budgeted for 2021, only 742.5 billion naira was allotted to education. That is just 5.6%, the lowest percentage allocation since 2011, way below the 15 to 20% advised by UNESCO for developing countries. Here's the breakdown. 579.7 billion naira is for personnel costs, 35.4 billion naira for overhead costs, while 127.3 billion naira is dedicated to capital expenditure. We'll get to that shortly. First, let's take you through the week in Nigeria's seat of power. President Muhammadu Buhari has replaced the service chiefs. They are Major General Lucky Irabo as the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Ibrahim Atahiru as Chief of Army Staff, Rear Admiral Awal Gambo as Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Oladayo Amao as Chief of Air Staff. The president has since sent their names to the National Assembly for confirmation. He had earlier met with them where he charged them to brace up for the state of emergency in the country.
On behalf of the service chiefs, I'm assuring the nation security, peace and security. We believe that there will be value that will be added to the security disposition of the nation.
Staying with security, the governors of Ondo and Oyo states met with the president separately. Although Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State did not speak to the State House correspondents, his Oyo State counterpart, Governor Seyi Makinde, says he reached out to the president for greater synergy between the state and the federal government over the security situation in the southwest region. Still in the southwest, President Buhari met with the Oni of Ife, His Royal Highness Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, over the security crisis in the region. In an interview after the meeting, the royal father says President Buhari has given his assurances that he will not allow security situation to be politicized.
Mr. President has assured that it's not going to be a political thing because we all know the problem all over the country, because we have a lot of bad eggs that have mixed across the entire country, and we are having that issue again in Southwest. So I'm here as the co-chairman of National Council of Traditional Rulers to get the assurance of Mr. President that either of the parties won't turn it to be a political funfair for us to just risk the life of our people, our innocent citizens, not only in Southwest but the entire country.
The president also extended his meetings to religious leaders, this time with a delegation of the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, led by the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Alhaji Mohammed Sa'ad Abubakar. At the meeting, President Buhari wants Nigerians to put aside all religious and ethnic differences when addressing the challenges confronting the country.
Security is a protracted problem, but we are not relenting in our efforts. Not only are we equipping the military, we are also boosting their morale to perform their constitutional duties without undue interference. We are also encouraging localities to enhance their intelligence gathering and timely remitting to the security agencies. The federal government will continue to promote religious freedom as it is a constitutional responsibility.
He also addressed some members of the diplomatic corps while receiving the letters of credence on the new ambassadors of Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Argentina. He's asking the international community to collectively confront the COVID-19 pandemic and other common challenges affecting the globe. In the meantime, the president has directed the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to draft a national plan to address the lingering challenge of out-of-school children in the country. President Buhari gave the directive at the inauguration of a 17-man presidential steering committee on alternate school programs.
Disaster management and social development has been directed to coordinate and head in the deployment of a national plan that can ensure a holistic and comprehensive inclusiveness of appropriate basic education for these children.
The president issued more directives when he presided over a virtual meeting of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure. President Buhari is the chairman of the governing board of the agency. He asked the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning to speed up the release of funds for local production of solar cells.
The Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, and Federal Inland Revenue Services to commence remittances of funds approved by law to the agency for establishment of solar cell production, high voltage testing laboratory, and transformer in collaboration with China Great Wall Industrial Corporation.
Meanwhile, President Buhari has signed the Coronavirus Health Protection Regulation in a bid to strengthen and enforce Nigeria's protocol on COVID-19. The chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Mr. Boss Mustafa, made the announcements in Abuja. Welcome back. We got an email from one of the residents of Dobi Village, Mr. Ahmed Moshood. It read, "Hello, Miss Kayla. I'm writing to you from the LEA Primary School, Dota, under Dobi Ward, Gwagwalada. The school was established in 2015 and has 2 teachers and 1 headmaster. It has 20 desks, but a deplorable classroom. This school has received no maintenance, renovation, or rebuilding, turning it into an eyesore and a horrible condition for a place of learning. To start with, the school is now without a ceiling, making the pupils direct recipients of heat from the iron sheets. Also, the pupils use the nearby bushes as toilets, and other essential instructional materials are unavailable. I am sending this info and pictures to you to please feature this school in your weekly program Dateline Abuja with a view to appealing to the government, whose responsibility it is to provide the basic infrastructure like school buildings to come to the aid of the school. The state of the school infrastructure is just too deplorable." Well, Mr. Moshood, we went to the school in Dota, and this is what we found. Dota is a community under Dobi Ward, and it's about 40 minutes drive from Dobi town. The ward is under the Gwagwalada Area Council in the Federal Capital Territory. Dota is about 1 hour 30 minutes drive to Gwagwalada, the headquarters of the area council. Indeed, it is a rural community without any basic social amenity like roads and electricity. This is the only school in the area, built through communal efforts in 2015. LEA Primary School Dota is home to over 150 pupils, and they come from the communities around here. The school has 2 teachers and 1 headmaster. However, some of the villagers volunteer to teach the students. Worse still, they teach the pupils in their native Gbagi tongue. The classroom has pupils in primary 1 to 4, and sometimes they're joined by those in preschool. The other classes are for primary 5 and 6.
Actually, I feel somehow because no classroom, no construction, no chair, and other things for, like a material. We didn't have any good material in the school. I dey feel somehow. I feel somehow to teach. When I stand in the classroom, I feel somehow because no proper chair, no proper requirement, no proper construction. They know there is committee called DOTA, and they know if they turn politics stand reach, they will come to us. After they win, they will left here. They will not remember us.
When the number of students become overwhelming or the classes are clashing, some of the students take their studies outside, under a tree.
Since the establishment of this school, I think even the government have not provided anything. Even the structure you saw was by the community. And before, due to lack of chairs, the community went and borrowed another chair from another place just to see that those students are not sitting on the floor. But up to that, those chairs are already broken, and there is no any proper means of getting them anyone. Up to now, we always lay complaint, but up to now the feedback is we are still on the process. It's not the only community that is facing this problem. The only thing is that we channel this issue and we want them, even though it is at least just 3 classrooms, because these people don't have office. They borrow room in the villages just to keep their file and document. You see, which is very bad. And when these documents are stolen, you see the school have nothing to tell about. At least if these people can help, not only them, even the NGOs or NGO can support them, even with at least how many classrooms, even though it is 2 to 3 classrooms, for the student to be in a conducive environment. Because let's assume this structure, if it is rainy season, definitely these students, their life is in danger. And we don't want a situation whereby you be called upon when a student lost his life, you be called upon that what happened and this. No.
The road linking the community is dusty, and the pupils must walk several miles to get to school. Many of them get tired by the time they get to the school.
This school has been facing so much challenges like the structure of the school. This school has been in existence since then. They haven't been given any structure by the government. It was the building you see here was a structure constructed by the community, and at the same time the chairs they have here they have to went out to various primary schools in order to borrow them in order to acquire knowledge to the students here. And you see, definitely, presently as it is, the chairs they have are not in order again. Definitely, most of the times they have to come out from the class to learn outside the class, which is never convenient. And I think a student will never learn appropriately in such condition. And at the same time, looking at the condition of that, the road infrastructure, just like road accessibility to other primary school, is very poor. For it will be very dangerous. It will be in stake for children of 6 to 11 years to trek here from other primary school in order to study.
For the chairman of the Gwagwalada Area Council, improving educational infrastructure in rural communities is a priority for his administration. However, he explains that the Federal Capital Territory Universal Basic Education Board has taken over the responsibility of building schools in the area.
The responsibility of the building primary schools or secondary schools has been shifted from local council to the board. But nevertheless, just like a month ago, we have made a compilation of such a primary school identified, just like you have mentioned. And the list of primary schools affected with this type of issues have been forwarded to the board. And we are working on it. Soonest they will come up with classroom structures. It's an issue that will receive a gradual attention, but I'm confident that soonest primary schools that are learning under the trees will be a thing of past with the FCT administration that I know. We're in collaboration with SDP, Community Development Project offices, where we give a token amount of money, and they come to build primary schools. And we have a good number of primary schools that have been built on that aspect.
Education is the foremost fountain of knowledge children are exposed to. The children of today are gearing up to become adult citizens of tomorrow, and their growth is parallel to the future of our country. However, that future we so desire raises several questions for these ones, considering the level of structure put in place for their education. Education is crucial to national development, and while infrastructure is at an all-time low, the issue of teachers' training and remuneration must be addressed as well. We speak with Professor Josiah Ajiboye, the Registrar of the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, on the plans to prepare teachers for the COVID-19 generation.
Professor Ajiboye, welcome to Dateline.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here.
Talk to us a bit about your office, because many people, know about the teaching profession. They're aware that, teachers are registered somewhere. But talk to us a bit about this office. What is the job description that you have?
Thank you very much. The Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria actually is an agency of the Federal Ministry of Education, established by government to regulate the teaching profession in the country.
When you say regulate, what do you mean?
Yes, in terms of registration of teachers, in terms of teacher professionalism, and improving the quality of teachers for the country. And we are to do this in all ramifications, at all levels, in both public and private schools.
Improving the quality of teachers. What does that entail?
Yeah, it entails the training and retraining of teachers. It entails teacher certification. We want to be sure that these teachers are actually qualified ab initio from the institution where they are coming from. And apart from the qualification they are holding from their institution, how do we then improve on them to make sure that they are able to cope with the teaching and learning in terms of improving on their quality, both pedagogical knowledge and skills? How do we make them to be aware of developments in the area of teaching globally so that they will be able to improve on what they do?
In the era of COVID-19, we saw education go virtual. Now, I'm going to look at it from the part of public schools.
Yes.
Because for private schools, it was easy for teachers to go virtual. Kids had computers. Their parents were well-to-do. When it came to the public schools, how were you able to handle teacher competency at a time when everything went virtual because of the pandemic?
We started with what you call remote learning strategies, okay? Using the use of radio. We call these emergency remote learning strategies. Use of radio, the use of television in most states of the Federation, and in the places where we could, then some schools were using a virtual online, okay? The Federal Ministry of Education, through UBEC, actually provided support, funding for the states, okay? A sum of 30 million was given to each state to be able to equip them, to be able to mitigate some of the challenges that they have with regards to providing education during that lockdown period. We believe that, look, our public school teachers should be able to compare with their private school teacher counterparts. And that's why we are taking it off from there. We are not stopping, okay? Within the space of 1 year, we have put in so many programs to be able to get our teachers, familiarize them with the use of some of these technologies so that, we will not remain at the same spot.
Everyone is talking about the teachers' bill. Two things the Minister of Education said he was going to do. Number one, he was going to bring the best brains into the education sector to become teachers. And then, of course, there is the years of service increase from 30 to 35, and then age of teachers from 60 to 65. You seem incredibly excited about this bill. How is this going to be beneficial to our education system?
There are two major principles that actually guided Mr. President in the approval. One, how do we attract best brains to teaching? If you have a classroom of 100 students now, you ask them, how many of you wants to be teacher? Maybe hardly will you get one or two who will say that I want to be a teacher. To the extent that people are leaving the teaching profession to some things that you cannot imagine, okay? They are leaving the teaching profession for some menial jobs, So it's so ridiculous. And so number one thing is, how do we attract best brains to teaching? Number two is, how do we retain the experienced teachers? In attracting best brains to teaching, that's why Mr. President has approved that the reintroduction of bursary for education students. Oh, if you are going to read education in the University of College of Education now, you are going to be enjoying some bursary. And then there's going to be teaching practice allowance. Like our students doing teaching practice will be treated like Suez. And it's going to be funded from TED Fund, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. We fund their teaching practice for both students and their supervisors. For us to guarantee that the quality of the teaching practice is very, very good. So they are going to be paid. Part of what is part of the component approved by Mr. President is that each teacher will attend at least one training per year. It's part of the thing approved by Mr. President. Though that is to ensure that the teachers, you know, they said teachers teach the way they were taught.
Yes, they do.
That's the thing.
Yes.
So, you know, you have to continue to, and you know, you have to continue to change the way you teach all the time, because new developments keep on coming in daily. Part of the component of that training program will be how will experienced teachers mentor the older ones. And that's why Mr. President approved that the length of service of the teachers, and it's not only in Nigeria, no, it's global. No, it's only that we are just getting there. Look at other countries. A country like India, with their population 1.6 billion, you would think that people will retire by 60 so. Teachers and medical officers in India retire at 65. Teachers in the US is for teachers is 62
but
to
remuneration
67.
in those countries for teachers is a lot better than it is in Nigeria.
We are going to get there.
We're talking now about bringing the best brains.
Part of what Mr. President actually approved.
Bringing the best brains into the education into the education sector. How are you going to get the best brains in if you're not paying them well?
No, part of what Mr. President actually approved is not only in terms of the extension only. You know, we are also talking about certain allowances. You know, when you increase salary, you know, basic salary, it may not make money. But when you increase the allowances of teachers, for example, we are going to have rural posting allowance for teachers. We are going to have science and difficult subject teachers allowance, you know, for teachers. We are going to have housing, rural housing for teachers, so that we'll be able to retain our teachers who are in the rural areas. Okay? And then, you know, other things like the children of teachers will be able to attend any school, the school where they are, will be able to attend free of charge. So these are some of the things that have been put together. Ultimately, the aim is to make this profession attractive to the younger ones. Anybody who wants to start as a teacher now, when you graduate as a graduate, you will start on level 9 instead of level 8. Okay? And if you are NCE, you start on level 8 instead of level 7. Okay?
How much is level 9?
That's part of the package.
How much is level 9 salary?
Let me tell you. It's not just, you know, as teachers, we don't look at it the way, if we want to make money, we know that we can go to the market to go and sell gari and beans. If we want
you
to
didn't
make
answer
money.
how much is the salary for level 9?
No, that's
so
why
that
I'm
every
telling
young person who's listening to me right now will know what to expect.
That's why I'm telling you.
Good.
We as teachers, we are not always concerned about how much.
Yes, but it's important for people to know.
No, our own is not about how much. You know, our own is, you know, we are looking at our job as a service to humanity. Look, that's why people normally say that the reward of the teacher is in heaven. Yes, we want to take our reward, but gradually on earth too. Let us have something to keep us going. And so, you know, it's not just about how much that is very important. It's about, you know, getting the teachers to be interested in what they do and making sure that these teachers actually are well motivated to be able to deliver on their job.
What would you say is the one thing that needs to be done to the educational sector at this point in time?
We need three things. Funding. Look, the level of funding of education in Nigeria is still extremely low. If we are able to inject funding, special funding to our education, we should be able to bring back that quality that we all desire.
Professor Ajiboye, thank you so much for being with us on Dateline.
No, it's been my pleasure.
Is Nigeria's minimum wage sufficient to pull in the best brains into the teaching profession? Let's know using the social media handles showing right now on your screen. And just like our friend Ahmed Moshood, you can also use those handles to send us the happenings in your neighborhood. We're always glad to help. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Megwa. See you next time.